Hi, everyone. I hope you're doing well and doing well on your course. We have already passed 2 weeks, and this is the week 3. And I found a lot of emails, not emails, like messages in the Canvas that you were facing some problem for your project 1, but unfortunately, you're sending me the emails on the very last day, like on the Saturday. It is due on Saturday, and you're sending me the emails on Saturday. I may not answer you on those Saturdays or Sundays. So make sure you send me emails beforehand so that I have time to check those things in weekdays and get back to you within the next day. So from next onward, I would suggest you to email me on weekdays and at least a few days before the deadline so that I can check your work, check your query, and get back to you soon so that you have ample time to finish your projects. Okay, very first thing I would like to go through the projects, and I don't know why it is giving you an error, less points, less credit. You should get 100 out of 100. I think it is not too hard. So basically you have here like 2 inputs and those 4 outputs. And here you can see some basic input and basic outputs. And for the starter code, I have told you that so previously it was written as undo.py, but as I've told you, when you go to the Codio project, undo udon2, then you can see this template file on the left side. And on the project description, it is showing, it is written that do not change the other parts that have been given, and do not worry if you don't fully understand all of this code now, because you learn those things later. And you need to use the template code, and you can add code and comment in the place indicated. So I've already written here like replace pass with the code. So you need to replace the pass. I found some of the students written here code, but didn't remove the pass. Similarly, replace your code with pass. So you need to write your code here and remove the pass. I found you have changed some of those things, and some of the students are not using this template. So if you're not using this template, you'll get some error. That's because we have used a lot of test cases, and the test cases are embedded with some functionality of the coding pattern here. So if you're not maintaining this exact format, I don't know, maybe your test cases are not passing. Like any of your test cases are passing. But maybe you get 0 out of 80 points. So make sure you use those templates on next onward projects. And it's really important. So here we have, so a lot of the students are just writing code before the try block. So why we are using a try block? So try and accept is like, we're trying to do something. If we are not getting these things, or if we are just getting some exception, then it will pass to this section. So that is the purpose of using the try and catch block, right? Try and accept block. And what I found from some of the students' submission, like they have written their code before the try block. Then what is the purpose of using the try block? You need to write the write your code inside the try block, so that if we have some exception, it will go to the accept block. That is the reason using the try block. So make sure you write your code inside the try block. And there was an obvious question or obvious problem that we found is like, you have written some print statement before the input function. So therefore, we got some point deduction there. So inside the try block, in the description, it is shown that you need to write the input function here inside the try block. That's all. With two variables. And those two variables are these, reverse and units. So you need to get the reverse and unit from user's input, not some arbitrary value. I found some of you have put only 20 and 1000 as a static value, so that for some other test cases, it is not passing. Now, how do you solve this problem? So the very first thing is like getting the input, then checking the input. One is like whether it is a positive number. And then another checking is like whether this value is more than 3 times of the reference. Why we need the 3 times is because we have to give the 3 units at least. So this unit value must be 3 times of the reference at least. Now, how do we calculate those things? Those are the outputs. So some of you send me an email that we're just sending 20 and 1000, but some expected outputs are written like 1157 or whatever, some big values. So I told you that there are some test cases. So this is one of the test cases, not the all. There are many test cases, 2 or 3. But for this test case, maybe it is passed, but for other 2 test cases, your code is not passing. So therefore, you're seeing those values there. So make sure your code is perfect for all of the test cases on your next onward program. Now, how you can solve this problem? I found some of you have written a lot of functional things, but at the end of your program, it is not giving you these outputs. So how do you do those things? This is very common. Let me calculate those things here. So these are the inputs and these are the outputs, right? How can we get those outputs? So the very first one, there are like 20 revelers, including Yundu and Peter. So the first one, it is written that, okay, give each crew 3 units other than Yundu and Peter. That means there are 20. So Peter and Yundu are 2. So right now there are 18 crews. Give them 3 units for each of those crew, right? So there are like 54 units. Okay, then how much we have right now? So previously we have like 1000 and we have given 54. So it is like 946, right? Well, let me put the calculator here. So 1000 minus 54. 18 multiplied by 3 is 54. 1000 minus 54 is 946. Now, what next? Yundu takes 13%, right? So 13% of 946. So 946 multiply 13%, that is 0.13, is 122.98. So I put here that not any fractional number, you need to round down. So it is like 122.98. So Yundu will get 122, right? Now, what's the remaining right now? Remaining is 946 minus 122. That is 946 minus 122 is 842. 824, sorry. Now what next? Then Peter gets 11% of the remaining. So this is the remaining, right? So 11% of 824. So 824 multiply 0.11. That is like 90.64. So if you're rounding down, so 90. So right now, Peter is 90, right? Now, how many shares are remaining? 824 minus 90. So the remaining is 734. Now I have told you here that you need to divide those things equally. So equally means like there is no fractional number. So if you divide by it, like including Peter and Yundu, that means again we need to divide those things by 20 right now. 734 can be divided by 20. So it's 36.7, right? So if we are just giving them the round down value, so everyone will get 36. So every Q will get 36. So every Q, that means including Peter and like Yundu, right? So now their share should be increased 36 and Peter should get 36. So right now, Peter will be 158. Sorry, Yundu will get 158 and Peter will get 126. And the Q value is 36. Now, what is the RBF? RBF is like a fund. What is the fund name? The Reverend Benevolent Fund, RBF. The remainder will be in the RBF fund, right? So we have like 734. We have divided 36 crews, right? So we have divided 20 crews to 36 items. So if we're multiplying 36 into 20, it is 720. So what is the remainder? The remainder is like 14, right? There are 734. If we're giving 36 items to 20 laborers, it is 720. So the remainder is 734 minus 720 is like 14. So that item should go to the laborer. And we can get those things by writing the modulus operator, 734 modulo, the total number of crew. If you're writing these things, it will return you 14. So we got our output. Yundu's share is 158, Peter's is 124, crew 36, RBF 14. That's it. You need to write some code so that will return you those things. If you change those things in different way, then your result will be different. That's all. But I found most of you haven't written the code clearly for the functionality. That's why the results are not accurate. Make sure you understand those things before writing the code for the next one or time. Well, I'm not going to spend too much time on the project one because it has already been done. If you'd like to submit it again with late penalty, you can submit. Let me know if you have any question. And of course, from next onward, do not email me on the very last day. At least give me 1 or 2 days to check your work on the weekdays so that I can give you some feedback. Okay, let's come to the this week reading and lab work. So normally we need to learn some items here on this week. Those are like the conditional things like if statements. So what is the if statement? So if statement is like, we're writing our code and based on some condition, it is branching. For example, based on this condition, if 5 is greater than 4, so we can write the if statement like this way, starting with if, then some Boolean expression, then end with a colon, then make sure you can write the statement with some indentation if that can be executed based on the if statement. And these commands are run while the if is true. This line, a command, are not associated with if statement because they are not, this line is not indented with the if statement. So you can see here, if you're writing some indentation, these are the if statements command. If it is true, if these are true, then it will execute. So here, 5 is always greater than 4, so it is true. Based on this true value, those two lines are executed. This is a very basic if statement. So there is another if statement here, 7 is not equal to 10. So yeah, this is true, 7 is not equal to 10. So that means this line will be printed. This is not associated with the if statement, so you don't have to worry about the next line, just because this is not a part of if statement. If this line is a part of the if statement, based on this true or false, this line will be executed. If we're writing here 10 is not equal to 10, that means this is false. On that case, the statement will not be executed. Okay, the next one is the if-else statement. What is the if-else statement? So based on some condition, if it is the true, then printing the running this command. In case if it's not true, so on our previous code, you can see that it is, if it is not true, then there's nothing here. It is not printing. But here, we're adding an else statement. Okay, if it is not true, we can jump here. Like we're branching our program here and here, like two ways. One way is going here if it's true, another way is going here if it's not true. So for example, in this case, the answer should be printing a true, right? It's because this condition is satisfied. 5 is always greater than 4. Now, what happens if you are writing here 2? 2 is greater than 4. So 2 is not greater than 4. That means this is not true. So it is not printing. It jumped to the else statement, right? When it jumps to the else statement, it will print the else block. So right now, we have like if block here, and this is the else block. You can see here for both if and else, we have this column. And these are the keywords if and else. And there's some indentation here. So this is the if indentation and this is the else indentation. So this command is associated with the else and this command is associated with if. Now, sometimes we need to write some compound conditional syntax. Like previously we have written only a true, right? Like a 5 is greater than 4. If it's true, it goes to here. Sometimes we need to write multiple true or multiple false statement with some and or joining. For example, I'm writing a true and a true. So a true and true is true, right? That means this is true. If we're writing true and false, so true and false is false. That means it will print you false. Like this condition can be evaluated as a false if we're writing true and false. But if you're writing true or false, so you can find the truth table of true false. So here's the truth table. If it is true and true, oh no, this is not the correct one. Well, here's the AND operation. True and true is the true, true and false is the false, false and true is the false, false and false is the false. So in an AND combination, the answer is true when both are true. Otherwise, it is false. Reversely, in an OR operation, if both are false, then it is false. If there is at least one true, then it is the true. So you need to remember those things. For the AND, it has to be both true to make the output of the true. For the OR, it has to be at least one true to make a true statement, like true result. And NOT is the return one. If you're writing not true, that means it is false. If you're writing not false, it is true. So true and true is true, true and false is false. So if you're in true and false, then it can be evaluated as false. Let's see if we have a different combination here, like this one. So number 16 is an even number. That means we can check the orderability or evenality by this modulo operation. So 16 modulo 2. So 16 modulo 2 is 0. So this can be evaluated as a true. Then if the number is greater than 10, yes, 16 is greater than 10. That means true and true. True and true is true. So now it can print this line. But what happened if we're writing here the number is less than 10? This is true, but that is not true. The true and false is false, so it will not be printed. But we have written here else condition. So if we write else condition, it goes to the else condition. Since we don't have any if else condition, so now we're done here. Then the last one is the else if or elif statement. What is an elif statement? Elif is like if you're writing a multiple if, but it can be checked once at a time. We can write an elif condition. For example, here you can see our grade is 82. This is greater than 70. True. Printing here. The if, this is the if, this is the else if, and this is the elif. So not the else if, it is elif. That means there are multiple ifs. So for example, for here, our grade is 82, checking here, it is less than 70, no, it goes to the next if. It is less than 80, no, it goes to the next one. It is less than 90, yes, it just passed here. That means for an, so if statement just checking once. For an if else, it is checking. If it is not true, it goes to the else. For the elif, if it is not true, it goes to the next if. If it is not true, it goes to the next if. If it is not true, in an elif, there is a default else. That means if none of the if is correct or satisfied, the default one is the else. It always goes to the else. So make sure when you write an elif, you have a default else condition. So one of the example is like here. For example, it is a normal if statement. We are checking every time 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. So 82 is less than 60, no. Less than 60, greater than 60, less than 70, no. Greater than 70, less than 80, no. Greater than 80, less than 90, yes. We're checking here. And again, after completing this statement, it again checks. Now, is it greater than 90, less than 100? No. That means in case of an if statement, if it finds here, like if we're writing multiple if, like this way, if it checks here and satisfied, But again, it will check all of the other ifs. But in case of an elif, if we find here, we're not checking the next onward else. For example, here, you can see, for example, like if already a value of 52, for example, so the grade is less than 60, yes, 52, we got it. So we're not checking any of those cases. We're done here. That means this is the efficiency of the elif rather than using multiple ifs. Okay, and that's all for the assignment thing. You need to do some labs. For the turtle project, your design is due on 28th. So you can see here the starter code. When I'm calling the starter code, you will see this starter code here on the left side. So when you click the assignment here, turtle pattern 1 assignment, you will get this window. And then these codes are showing here on the left side. And you're not required to change this pattern. If you're changing those code pattern, possibly some of the test cases are not going to be passed. So make sure you just write the code here and here. Okay. So if you have any question about the turtle pattern, just send me a message. As I've told you, do not email me at the very last time. Make sure you start your project at least a week ago. And whenever you have a problem, just send me a message. In week case, I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can, most likely within the next 1 business days. Okay, thank you very much. Hopefully I will post another video next week and so on and so forth. So that's all. Have a good day. Bye.